It's the dream of poker pro and amateurs alike to win an EPT event.
Peter de Korver is the champion.
In 5 seasons, the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour has crowned 46 champions and paid out over 123 million euros in prize money to become the largest poker tour on the planet. And there's more to grab in Deauville this week as the remaining players duel for the title every player wants.
Well, it's now or never for the players stealing with a shot at the title and the cash. For the last 4 days, Deauville has played host to the French leg of the European Poker Tour. But who will be champion and who will take home the gold? 8 players remain, but only one can prevail. Deauville is famous around the world for its film festival and horse races. But at the poker table, it's all about the chips.
The EPT rolled into Deauville in search of its new champion. 8 players have endured 4 gruelling days to make the final table. Among them is this year's future EPT Deauville winner. There's been a fantastic field, including no fewer than 13 EPT champions and 2 former world champions. 768 players, one of them Mike McDonald, aiming to be the first player to win 2 of the prestigious titles.
Seems like this is going to be a pretty tough final table. A lot of pretty good players and very few soft spots. For my chances, I'm pretty glad that Elke busted in the Eastgate short. Hopefully for me, Eastgate doesn't build up a stack, and then I can go from there.
Competing in his first ever EPT is 21-year-old Jake Cody from Rochdale in England.
Hello, I'm Jake Cody. I play as Never67 online. I'm coming into the final table with 4.65 million. I'm super excited about today. I've got a huge chance to win. I think I could probably see me and Mike McDonald tangling. I don't know. Hopefully I'll run good.
Craig Bergeron, a 20-year-old American from Michigan, is a prominent online player.
Hi, I'm Craig Bergeron. I'm pretty excited about the final table. It looks like a tough table. I predict that the 4 left are going to be me, Timex, Jake, and Theodore. So we'll see if my prediction's correct. I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a tough ride.
A new face on the European scene, but looking very much at home, Frenchman Michael Fratty.
Hello, my name is Michael Fratty, alias Fraton. I play in PokerStar in internet, just for fun, and I try to win sometimes. I am optician. If you need some sunglasses, come to see me. I promised to my wife before to get this tournament, if we win, all is for an apartment. Maybe a little bit to play poker.
Former world champion Peter Eastgate has booked a place at his second Deauville final table, but is very short-stacked.
So far in the 6th season of the EPT, I've played around 4 or 5 EPTs, where I've came in second in the EPT of London for £500,000, so that was a very big score. But it's been a very successful season for me so far. In poker, it's all about reading your opponent's betting patterns, and if you have a good idea of the way I bet my strong hands and weak hands and try to figure out my game, that would be the way to kill me.
Winning an EPT is a dream for some and a dream come true for others. At Deauville, there's an impressive €847,000 for the winner and a seat at the EPT Grand Final in Monte Carlo. Last year, Germany's Moritz Kranich walked away with the much-coveted trophy. So who will be the new EPT champion in Deauville this weekend?
Let's play some poker. Joining me, James Hartigan, on commentary duties as a man who is no stranger to EPT final tables, Luca Pagano. In fact, Luca, you've been on the final table of this very tournament.
Oh yes, I survived for 2 hands, but it was season number 1. I had a lot of fun. That was the beginning of a good career, I would say. So looking forward to get a title.
And of course, you cashed in this year's tournament as well. Well done on that.
Thank you very much, James.
But these are the last 8. They include Eastgate and Bergeron, who both folded. Stefan Albertini from Corsica.
I'm pretty sure, James, that we're going to see a great final table here. Albertini with pocket jacks, announced raise.
Got some very good players. Among them, Mike Timex McDonald. He's folded.
Mike pass.
So the action is now
Claudio pass.
on George Sakara. He's passed. Cody with 10s. Could get himself in trouble here.
Let's see if Cody is gonna re-raise or just call from the small blind.
Jake calls. Fraton pass.
Just call with pocket tens. Could be dangerous for him because in this way he doesn't know exactly where he is in the hand.
Comes 4 of spades, 8 of
And it's a
clubs,
low
7
flop.
of clubs.
He could lose a lot of chips here. Albertini is the effective stack with 3.5 million.
Jake check.
Check for Cody. Let's see if he's gonna check raise this bet.
Stefan bet.
Nearly a $250,000 is the
240,000
C bet from Albertini.
It's actually a small bet for Albertini. He bet almost half of the pot. Let's see Cody. Let's see Cody if he's gonna just call or raise here. I'd say that probably he's gonna call, and he calls. He probably is a bit aware of Albertini. They are both very deep. They have a big stack.
Comes the turn.
Cody takes the lead with a 10 on the turn.
Now I'd say that he's a bit more happy. He's more sure about his hand. He has a set of 10s. Let's see if he's coming out betting.
Now it still looks like a pretty safe board for jacks.
I like this check. Of course, it's going to be a check raise for Cody. Let's see if Albertini is going to bet. Wow, that's a very good check for Albertini.
Comes the river. 6 of hearts.
Well, it is quite a straighty board. Question is, Luca, how much can Cody bet here to ensure he gets paid off?
No more than 500. No more than 500. Maybe 400. I mean, you can have a straight with a 5, with a 9. You're going to be called here with an overpair, and maybe jacks is not enough.
Well, he's betting about a third of the pot here, 335,000.
That's a very good bet. That's a very good bet for Cody.
And I imagine that looking at that board, even though, as you said, Luca, a 5 or a 9 makes a straight, Albertini with the overpair, he has to make the call, surely.
Yeah, I probably would call here. I mean, the pot is going to be more than 1.5 million. Wow!
He lets it go!
That's a great fold by Albertini.
Well, it's a great fold because we know what Cody's hole cards were, Luca. Is that a bit tight, potentially?
That was just a great read for Albertini.
So Cody's still second in chips with nearly 5.2 million. Theodore Caraba still chip leader with 7.15. And at the bottom of the leaderboard, the 2 short stacks are Peter Eastgate and George Sakara. With blinds at 3,000, 6,000, they're going to need to make a move soon.
We're back in Deauville for the final table of the PokerStars.net EPT. 768 players entered this tournament. Most of them were French. One of the bombshells here has been the elimination of a great favourite, Bertrand Elki Grapellier. Bad luck for the French #1 who dropped out in 9th place on the final table bubble. No French player has ever won the Deauville leg, and there's just 2 Frenchmen left in the final, Albertini and Fratti. Former world champion Peter Eastgate has been impressed by the level of play from the locals.
I like to play against the French players because they give a lot of action and they're not that selective about the hands that they're playing, and they give a lot of action, and they're funny to play against.
Craig, big blind.
So we saw Stefan Albertini make a big laydown with jacks. He's going to be under the gun on this hand. First to speak, he folds. As will Mike McDonald.
Stefan and Mike pass. Claudio pass.
Fold.
Jake pass.
In fact, it has been folded around to Michael Fratti, aka Fraton.
We already saw him trying to steal the blind with marginal hands. Wouldn't be surprised if he's gonna raise with King 7, mid position. Right.
130,000.
Fraton raises 130,000. Sans transmit.
Just over a min raise.
Well, this mini raise gives the opportunity to Peter Eastgate to see a flop with ace-8. Let's see. No, he's gonna fold.
Peter pass.
Craig Bergeron has 10-4, and that is a hand that we saw Jake Cody play very aggressively on the penultimate day, and Bergeron is an aggressive player who likes to bully short stacks.
Especially when he's on the big blind, he likes to re-raise. He asked for a chip count. Fratty said 1.5 million. Here Bergeron looks like that he's pondering to re-raise with a very marginal hand like 10-4.
I love that, very marginal hand. That's going to be understatement of the day.
Craig re-raises.
Re-raise 305,000.
Yeah, don't forget that when Cody played 10-4 aggressively, he ran into kings and cracked those kings with a straight on the river.
It's a very hard for Fratty here to make a call.
I think he is going to make the call. Maybe he's counting out chips for a re-raise.
Could be really dangerous for Fratty to call with King 7. Well, we know the hands, and the call would be really good.
Call.
Okay, he announced the call. These are the situations where you can actually lose a lot of money, a lot of chips.
We're going to see the flop.
Well, of course, Bergeron, as the pre-flop betting lead, whatever comes on the flop, he's expected to bet, and he's hit his 10.
Let's see, Bergeron, how much is going to bet?
He knows what Fratty has because he asked for the count pre-flop.
1.2.
1.25.
All in.
Oh, look at that. Bergeron puts him all in. And Fratty can't possibly call. There is nowhere for him to go. He can make no move other than fold.
That's part of the show. Fratty already decided. He's actually thinking how long he can think about to fold this hand. Okay, he decided to fold.
Fraton pass.
Very aggressive play by Bergeron. He wants to control the table.
Is there not an argument, Luca, that if Fratty's read was that Bergeron was re-raising light pre-flop, he would have been better off shoving with the King 7 rather than calling?
Absolutely. If he has a good read on his opponent, if he knows that the young American player is so aggressive, probably the best solution is to fold or to re-raise all in, not to just call.
Well, after that hand, Bergeron now has 3.57 million. He's third on the leaderboard. Fratty down to sixth with 1.29. But the two players in the danger zone needing to get busy are still Peter Eastgate and George Sakara. Every player posts the ante of 5,000. Cody posts the small blind of 30,000. Fratty the big blind of 60,000. It means that Theodore Caraba, our current chip leader, is first to speak, but he will fold. Eastgate looking for something to shove with, not this time.
Fold.
Craig pass.
It's action on Albertini. He's got kings.
Cowboys for the French player. Let's see how much he's going to raise. He announces the raise.
Announces raise.
The mini raise is 2 times the big blind, 120. Let's see how much Albertini is raising. And this time Albertini raised 180, 3 times the big blinds. And Mike McDonald move in with ace queen, 1.57. Wow, that's a big re-raise for the Canadian player. Albertini make a quick call.
And that puts Mike McDonald at risk. We could be on the verge of losing our previous EPT title winner. Timex looking to hit an ace, and there it is in the door. Ace on the flop.
6 of spades, 8 of clubs.
No emotion from Mike. Albertini has that look which says, I've been here before.
Here comes the turn.
No spade on the turn to give him a backdoor flush draw. So just a king on the river for Albertini to eliminate Mike McDonald. Or he's going to double him up.
Comes the river.
It is the double up for Timex. Do you think Mike shoved there with the ace-queen, Luca, because Albertini made such a big raise, an old-school 3x raise?
Well, actually, most of the time when an opponent raises more than what he used to be is because he has a strong hand. This time he has been lucky.
Albertini down, but not out. McDonald now very healthy in chips.
Mike pass, Claudio pass, Jake pass, Rato pass, Theodor pass.
Peter Eastgate finally finds a hand, and he is all in.
Peter raise all in.
Shoves with tens from the button.
Well, you know, when you raise from the button, you have no credit. So I wouldn't be surprised if the American guy here is gonna call with King 9.
Bergeron is in the small blind.
Eastgate was getting...
Wow, Bergeron reshoves to freeze out the big blind.
All in.
That's just because Eastgate was raising from the button, so no credit for the Danish player.
Peter Eastgate all in.
But his hand is a good hand.
You say he doesn't give him credit, Luca, because he's on the button, but Peter has been sitting very quietly. I mean, he's not going to be shoving that light.
I mean, that's the way that Eastgate played the tournament. I do like his style.
Well, just as Mike McDonald got an ace in the door, Bergeron gets a king on the flop, and Eastgate moves behind.
Now Peter needs to catch a 10 to stay alive.
And this has been a good season for Peter Eastgate on the EPT, coming second in London. Hoping to go one better here in Deauville, but he'll be our 8th place finisher unless there is a 10 on the river.
Is one of the 2 remaining 10s. And here's the river card.
The former world champion is the first man out of the final table here at the Deauville European Poker Tour.
He's been very unlucky in this hand. He played a very good tournament. Congratulations to Peter Eastgate.
Got his money in good. Bergeron got lucky.
Well, someone has to be first to fall, and on this occasion, it's previous world champion. Peter, what went wrong?
Well, my pocket tens didn't hold up against King 9, so...
The one card you didn't want to see, and straight on the flop. First card out.
Yes, now I'm out.
How do you feel? Was it a good competition? Are you disappointed or just pleased to make the final table?
Well, you always feel sick when you're the first guy to bust out at the final table, so obviously right now I'm a little bit disappointed, but on the other hand, like, you're always pleased to make the final table.
How about the field out there? Obviously, you've played in many of these types of tournaments and also these final tables. How do you think the field has been here in this particular event? Tough, easy? Is play getting better?
It's been one of the softest fields I've ever experienced in my poker career, so like...
Oh, wow.
I can recommend other poker players to come down here next year.
Excellent. And what's next for Peter Eastgate?
The EPT of Copenhagen.
Oh, wonderful. So we're going to see you again.
Yes, you are.
Well, Peter, obviously you've had fantastic success in your career. Another cash to add to your name. So congratulations, €70,000 and 8th position.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then there were 7. Caraba still has the chip lead. Cody and Bergeron 2nd and 3rd respectively. And at the bottom end, the short stack is George Sakara. The Romanian is now sitting there with 9 big blinds. We're still playing 30-60 with a running ante of 5,000.
1.5 million.
Of course, every time a player is eliminated, the rest of the field move up a spot on the money ladder. But just as with Immortals in the movie Highlander, there can be only one champion at the poker table. Only one of these guys can walk away with €847,000. And right now, you'd have to put a fair amount of money on Theodor Caraba. Got a big chip lead, and he's picking up the cards, although his 10s have just run into the queens of Bergeron.
We're gonna see some fireworks here.
Great calls.
Only call for the American. Very surprised about this. He's a guy that likes to shuffle with marginal hands, and he's a guy that likes to slow play big pairs.
Theodore and Craig, and we see a flop.
Can be dangerous, especially in a final table.
Well, Bergeron does have position, but there again, a set of 10s.
And this is going to be very expensive for Bergeron. Let's see how much Caraba is going to bet. The pot is 385. He could bet about 250, 300.
Theodore bets 250,000.
$250,000 is the bet.
Let's see if Bergeron is going to raise to see where he is in the hand. It's a very hard spot for the American.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that flop, he's got to think the queens are probably good. Well, he's just going to call.
That's a call. Actually, he's preparing some kind of raise on the turn. But with this king of clubs, could slow down a little bit the action that Bergeron was preparing with this low play with the queens. Of course, we know that queens is no more the best hand here. Let's see Caraba how much he can bet here. I would bet 700-800. I would bet the pot. That's the best way to hide a strong hand.
600,000.
600.
The bet's 600,000.
Continues to play it aggressively. Now, will Bergeron slow down because of the king? I think, Luca, that had it been a low card on the turn, we could have seen a big raise from Bergeron.
I would say that Bergeron is going to just call. In fact, just call is a bit worried about that king. That king changed a little bit of the plan that he had on the flop. Maybe he's just saving. And I think that with this river, Bergeron is going to call even a big bet. If he decides to call on the turn with the king, I mean, that deuce of spade is not going to change anything. So Caraba must be aware of this. I would make a big bet here, a large one. I would bet 1.5 because I'm pretty sure that my opponent is going to call me.
Well, it's near enough, 1.5, Luca, 1.4 million.
That's a great bet.
And a quick call from Bergeron, and he gets the bad news.
That's a great hand played very well by Caraba. He has been lucky. He has been lucky to hit the tens, but he played very, very well. The American decided to slow play the queen's pre-flop. That's the price that sometimes you have to face.
It wasn't that hard.
So he was the chip leader before this hand. Now is the. Now I would say that he's a massive chip leader, James.
Yeah, close to 10 million after winning that big pot against Craig Bergeron.
Fato small blind and Theodore big blind in this hand.
Well, action is on Bergeron. He's under the gun here.
The pot now is already 120,000 with the small blind, big blind, and the antes.
He's opening the pot with a raise to 125,000.
Almost a min raise from Bergeron.
He's actually betting the right size of the pot. He just lost an important pot. He wants to recover straight away.
Cody has queen 6. And he asks for a count of Bergeron's stack.
Yeah, probably because he put Bergeron on tilt after the last hand. We already saw Cody being able to make a 5-bet with 10-4.
Yeah, when Jake Cody raises, it's with what we like to call a wide range, which translates as any two cards.
Well, when I'm facing these kind of players, I prefer to or fold like Bergeron did, or just to shuffle. I mean, these kind of opponents, you have to don't let them play the flop.
Bergeron decides to wait for a better opportunity. Cody still second on the leaderboard. He's playing in his first ever EPT, and he's travelled here to France with his friend Matt Perrins. That's a name you should recognise, Luca, because Matt was the man who took down the Italian Poker Tour event in Venice.
Well, good player used to travel together and help each other.
Matt is railing Jake. He's now guaranteed at least 7th place, but with his stack and his style of play, I figure he's either going to finish 7th or 1st. It's going to be all or nothing.
Audio pass. Action is on Jake.
Looks like that Cody wants to take control of this final table. He just one hand. He wants to keep raising. He wants to keep high pressure to the opponents.
Audio pass. Theodore pass.
Well, he's got past the only stack bigger than his.
Craig pass. Stefan pass.
And he got the whole table to fold. Just Mike McDonald in the big blind, but McDonald has ace-10.
He could decide to just call. I mean, the raise is coming from an early position. Let's see if he decides just... No, he re-raised 400,000.
Well, as you were saying a moment ago, Luca, Cody is not the kind of player you want to let see a flop.
Well, the problem is that if you just re-raise, Cody is able to shuffle with an hand like Jack 9, and then it's a problem to call with Ace 10. Okay, Cody decided to fold. I'd say that here McDonald wanted to send a message to Cody.
Well, that was the last hand of the level. The players will take a short break, and then the blinds will jump to 40-80.
We've lost a former world champion, and with the big prize so close, the pressure is on for the remaining finalists. Seven players are left as we head towards an exciting climax. The atmosphere is increasingly electric here at the final table in Deauville, 8th leg of the PokerStars.net EPT. Peter Eastgate was the first to go at the final, and a cross-table duel seems to be pitting Jake Cody against Craig Bergeron. Two French players are still competing at home, along with a Romanian online qualifier. So who will scoop the top prize?
Well, let's not forget we have a previous EPT winner still in the hunt for his second title, Mike Timex McDonald, currently sitting on a stack of 3.77 million. Of course, Mike nearly went back-to-back in Dortmund. I think you were at the final table the second time he was there?
I was there. I finished 6th place and actually finished 4th. It was a great tournament.
And Mike McDonald, a great player. Here we see the short stack, George Sakara, moving all in. He's only got 375,000. And I guess any pair will do.
He's doing the right thing. That's the only move that he can have. Pushing all in with a pair.
And he's been quickly called because Albertini has picked up ace-jack suited on the big blind.
Well, it's a coin flip. Coin flip situation here for Sakara and Albertini. We already saw Albertini playing a couple of coin flips.
Well, on the penultimate day of the tournament, Albertini found himself involved in a lot of coin flips, and it seemed that most, if not all of them, went his way. But today, the final table has not been kind to him. His king's cracked by Mike McDonald's ace-queen. He's hoping for a bit of help from the poker gods. Well, he's not getting it so far.
There's no ace, there's no jacks for Albertini. Sakara takes the lead, 74% for him.
Albertini will himself become a short stack if he loses this pot. He can now hit a 10 to make a straight.
Few more outs.
Aces and jacks still working for him as well. But right now, Sakara, nearly 4-1 favourite to double up.
And here's the river card.
And he does double up.
And Claudio doubles through.
The delight of the Romanians in the crowd.
Sakara win an important hand. He almost triple up his initial stack, considering the ante, the blinds. So that was a very important hand for him.
And Albertini's thinking, I just can't win an all-in today.
The PokerStars.net EPT is the richest record-breaking tour of all time, travelling across 12 countries this season and has been attracting more and more players as it goes. More players means more money, so take a look at the biggest winners so far. In 5th position is PokerStars online player American Jason Mercier. He banked over 1.2 million euros. The French mascot Bertrand Grapellier, better known as Elky at the tables, comes in 4th, 2nd at the EPT Copenhagen, a victory at the PCA Bahamas, and several cashes under his belt have seen him take home almost 2.2 million euros. Thanks to his one victory at the PCA 2009, Canadian Hoyan Azari heads straight to 3rd with just more than 2.2 million euros in winnings. With just under 2.3 million euros, the 2009 Grand Final winner Peter de Corva is 2nd. But Top of the tree and #1 on the all-time EPT cash list is Canadian Glenn Chorney. He's made nearly 2.4 million in poker winnings so far. But the list is ever changeable and anyone can make an appearance, so if you fancy it, it could be your name we see next year.
We're still seven-handed at this final table. Peter Eastgate, the only player to have fallen so far. The short stack is still Georges Sakara, nursing his last 575,000 chips, but he's not going to play this hand. Nor will Jake Cody.
Pass.
Michael Fratty also passes. So Theodore Caraba on the button.
Pass.
Theodore pass.
Gives up King-9 of clubs. I would have figured that with that chip lead, he would have made a move there.
300,000.
From the small blind.
Bergeron decided to raise from the small blind. He's attacking the big blind of Albertini that is getting really short. Ace-4 for him. Okay, he announced the all-in, And Bergeron just have to add 320,000 to get a chance to win a pot of 1.2 million. And of course, to get the chance to eliminate one player.
Yeah, Albertini in the big blind with that stack. Now I see why Caraba folded the King-9 on the button. Oh, what a flop. Albertini with a pair of aces. Bergeron with the flush draw.
And the 7 of clubs. Stefan flops a pair of aces.
Always a sweat, Luca. There has to be a sweat. It's in the rules of poker. Page 48, paragraph 3.
First prize is more than 800,000, so good reason to sweat.
6 of diamonds.
Just got to dodge a club on the river.
The last card is not a club. Stefan will double through.
Albertini finally wins an all-in.
And Stefan doubles. All-in bet was 620,000. So it's 1,240,000.
Bergeron had an expression on his face saying, why didn't I just give the guy a walk?
60,000 now.
It's an important pot for Albertini because he goes back to 1.3 million, more or less. So he's back in the game. And we already saw him playing a very good poker here in Deauville.
Line still 40-80. It'll be Albertini first to speak here.
Stefan pass.
He'll let it go.
Claudio pass.
Action folded around to Cody, who's got kings.
Let's see how much Cody is going to raise. This is probably the most important edge that a very aggressive loose player like Cody has. I mean, when you raise, you don't have that much of a credit. This time Cody has cowboys.
Fratty with ace-queen. And he shoves.
Of course.
No one's going to give Cody for a hand, as you just suggested, Luca.
That's exactly why lose aggressive players when they run good. They're going to crash tournaments.
Frato's all-in hand is ace-queen, ace of hearts, queen of diamonds.
But hey, still 5 cards. We already saw someone losing with kings against the ace-queen.
Mr. Fratty Senior can't see the cards. Ace-queen, ace-queen.
Over 1.2 million for Frato.
And Mrs. Fratty knows that an ace is needed. And he's specifically calling for the ace of diamonds.
Flop comes, queen.
Doesn't get it though, but he does hit a queen.
So pair of queens for Frato.
So now he's got aces and queens working for him.
Or an ace to stay alive. Kings are in the
Cody comfortably in the lead though.
Here is the turn. It's a jack. Now he got a couple more outs.
There has to be a sweat. Now Cody does not want to hit a set.
Ace doesn't help.
And Fratty doesn't want his ace.
Only a king or a queen. But he's calling for the ace of spades. You don't want it, man. Well, the 9 of diamonds gives Jake Cody the straight. We see the elimination of Michael Fratti in 7th place, €92,000, and I'm sure his wife is very proud of him.
And James, we are down to 6 players, and as you know, less players there are at the final table, and the more aggressive the game should be.
Michael, what a fantastic day for you.
Yes, yes. I don't have many cards, but I do my best. For me, it's not a problem. Ace, queen, or ace, kings, no problem.
It just happens, it's poker.
I'm waiting to see near you. I do the UPT just to see near you. Now, for me, it's finished. It's okay.
I have to say, Michael, I don't know if you've seen on the rail, but you have about 15 people here cheering you on today.
Yes,
that must make you feel fantastic while you're playing.
For me, it's not a problem. For me, poker is only for fun. With this kind of money, I'm going to pay many presents, and I'm happy.
Well, usually you play cash games, and you're here for the EPTs. Was it a good experience playing on the TV table?
Yes, yes, it was a good experience. Last year, I lose at the bubble, 2 plays before. Now it's okay. All is okay for me.
Well, you did say that if you win, you would buy a house and never play poker again.
Yes, my wife is near here. I say to my wife, for the moment, we have only the garage.
Oh, so you have a garage, Mrs. Michael, okay, Mrs. Fratton.
She's going to buy a garage for the car.
Well, it's sad that you've gone out because it's such a great story. We'd love for you to win, but it's been fantastic watching you play. Congratulations for coming 7th. It's a fantastic feat. And you walk away with €92,000.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Exactly. Thank you.
Bonjour.
Bienvenue à Deauville.
Bienvenue à l'EPT Deauville.
J'ai 24 ans.
C'est vrai, je suis le champion.
Je suis le champion mondial.
Je suis un grand bluffeur.
Je suis un bluffeur.
J'aime bluffing.
Je sais pas si je suis une bluffeuse. Quelquefois.
Je suis un bon joueur.
Je ne... What?
Je suis une joueuse de poker.
Je ne joue.
Je vais gagner.
C'est tout? Thank you very much.
Et voilà le classement.
Ooh la la.
Theodore Caraba still out in front with close to 10 million in chips. Jake Cody still second with 6.5 million. The 2 shortest stacks are Stefan Albertini with just under $1 million and Claudio Sakara still nursing 580,000 chips. And the blinds have gone up, which is not good news for Sakara. 50,000 and 100,000 with a 10,000 ante.
Theodore pass. Craig pass.
Well, it's been folded to Mike McDonald in the small blind, 10-7 suited. And he decides to pound on Sakara.
Well, Mike McDonald announced all in. He knows that he can only lose 500 and something, which is the stack of Sakara, which announced the call with ace, queen of spades.
And actually, McDonald is not in that bad shape. He's got 2 live cards. He's got 37% equity in the pot.
It's a quite difficult situation on 60-40.
Clubs, 7 of clubs for Mike. We're going to see the flop with 2 players.
Well, Sakara's already had 1 double up today with 6s. He's looking for a second with ace-queen against 10-7. That'll work.
5 of hearts.
That'll work.
I don't see Mike McDonald in very good shape with this flop.
Top analysis there from Luca Pagano.
I want a king and a jack now.
I'm still feeling it.
Optimism, Mike, optimism. You're not feeling it anymore.
Well.
Drawing dead on the turn, but crucially doesn't lose that much because Sakara got himself down to fewer than 6 big blinds.
But now Sakara goes back to 1.2 million. It's back in the game.
With 12 big blinds. Wow, monster stack.
Jake's on the button, Theodore.
Not such a big stack, but still he has more chance to get this first prize, James, here in Deauville. How much is the first prize?
€847,000.
Stefan pass, Mike pass.
Hell of a payday. Plus the prestige that comes with winning an EPT title. Mike McDonald, the only guy at this table who knows how that feels.
1-8.
Again, we see the action folded to the small blind. We see Carrabba shove from the small with sixes.
And Bergeron announced the call with King-Queen.
He shows King of Hearts.
I like both moves. I like the all-in with the sixes. Didn't want to give the opportunity to Bergeron to re-raise all-in, so he decided to be the first one to go in.
And Bergeron spikes a king on the flop and takes the lead.
Craig takes the lead with a pair of kings. We need a 6 for Theodore.
And sixes were good for the other Romanian at the final table.
Ace of diamonds.
Will Carrabba hit a miracle two-outer on the river to eliminate Bergeron, or is the American about to double up?
The River Cup.
It's a double up for Bergeron. He plays online as heads up for rolls. And he's now back up to 3.76 million in chips.
Everyone hoped to walk away with the EPT trophy. The French #1 hoping to win at home. The last female representative who just missed the final table. The local heroes who came out in force. Now the countdown has begun and the climax is approaching with relentless pace. There can be only one. We're in Deauville for the 8th leg of the PokerStars.net EPT, and we're still looking for our French champion. With a fabulous prize pool of more than 3.6 million euros, one thing is already certain: someone will be walking away with the dazzling sum of 847,000 euros. At the final table, one player has known the triumph of an EPT victory before. Mike McDonald took down the Dortmund event. Can he do it again here in France and become the first player in history to win 2 EPT titles? With just 6 players left at the final table, all eyes are now on the title trophy and the 847,000 euro first prize.
Small blind.
Craig Bergeron and Stefan Albertini are in the blinds. It means that Mike McDonald is going to be first to speak on this hand.
There's 10,000 missing.
Ace King under the gun. Not just Ace King suited.
I hate Ace King. He announced the raise at 220,000.
Pocket tens for Jake Cody.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna see fireworks here, James.
3-bet coming.
For sure. And I'm pretty sure that Mike McDonald will push in. But we see how much Cody is gonna raise. Don't forget that these two players know each other. They're both very aggressive. They both are very deep.
Well, we're talking about the second and third biggest stacks at the table. Cody starting the hand with 5.3 million. McDonald with 4.2 million.
Here we are, re-raised by Cody. Let's see McDonald if he decide to just call to see the flop or if he decide to push.
Well, back in the day, Luca, players would just call and see a flop, but these days,
push.
Massive flips for about 10 million chips.
In this day, when you don't know what to do, just push.
It's going to be the best piece of poker advice in the world, isn't it? If in doubt, shove. It means you go broke, but that doesn't discount it as a great piece of advice.
Well, that's the way also to win the tournaments. And Mike McDonald announced a re-raise 1.1 million.
Surely Cody shoves now.
There are 2 options here for Cody: fold or shuffle. There's no sense here to just call.
I'm pretty sure that Cody's the mindset that folding is boring.
All in, I announced all in. And call McDonald. I can tell you, James, that both players are not happy to have all their chips in this pot with these hands.
It's
okay. 8.6 million in the middle, and Cody does not want to watch.
Typical situation for a final table. Coin flip, ace king against queens, jacks, tens. Most of the time, hands play by themselves. This is one of those situations.
Cody with his railing crew. And there's the king. McDonald takes the lead. Cody is told the bad news by his buddy.
Mike's ahead with a pair of kings. We need a 10 for Jake. Here comes the turn. Ace of
Well, he could hit a jack now.
10 jack? Yeah. Why are you telling me this? This is scary.
6 out for Cody.
Tens and jacks are the cards that are working for him. Otherwise, he's down to just 11 big blinds.
It's the 6 of spades.
And that is the net result of that pot. Mike McDonald becomes final table chip leader with 8.6 million. Most of Jake Cody's chips get shipped across the table, and the Englishman finds himself in the same situation as Sakara with a stack of 1.1 million.
Mike first. Claudio first.
Cody straight back in it. What a time to pick up aces.
Just in time for Cody. Let's see if someone is going to call him.
Well, Albertini is in the big blind and is sitting there with about 660,000.
Call for Albertini for all his chips. Albertini, the French player, is the player at risk now.
Well, Albertini knew he had to find a spot to gamble, and equally he knew that Cody's range was so wide there.
He played very good so far, Albertini.
I don't know why Cody's supporters are so worried. He's 83% favourite. Maybe he only wins when he gets his money in behind. And at least Albertini can still manage a smile.
Here comes the flop.
Well, the flop is black, but it's spades, not clubs.
Spades. No help for Stefan at the moment.
6 of spades on the turn.
Here comes the turn.
Well, the 6 of diamonds gives him a little bit of hope. He could hit an 8 for the win or a 4 for a chop.
And cut.
4 or an 8.
He'll take the 4 for the split.
Stefan needs an 8. Here comes the river.
He's feeling it. Cody doesn't look happy. He can look happy now. He's eliminated Albertini.
We have lost the last French player here at the final table, EPT Deauville. Congratulations to Albertini. He played such a great tournament.
And he looks like he's in high spirits, Luca. I mean, he does get 129,000 euros for his 6th place finish.
So as you saw, Stefan is out in 6th place. Now, he doesn't actually speak much English, but Stefan, are you pleased with your win, your cash?
It's a good experience for me, a good tournament, organization is fantastic, beautiful casino.
And obviously, 6th in a final table, you win 129,000 euros.
Yeah, I play a big stake, it's 100, it's more money.
Excellent, so we'll see you again?
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Stefan.
Thank you.
5 players remain. We have 2 Romanians, the short stack Claudio Sakara and Theodore Caraba, currently 2nd on the leaderboard. The Englishman Jake Cody's now back up to 1.6 million. Craig Bergeron sits on 3.7 million. The chip leader is the former EPT champion Mike Timex McDonald. He has 8.6 million. One of these 5 players is going to walk away with 847,000 euros. Which one will it be? Join me, James Hartigan and Luca Pagano next time on the European Poker Tour to find out who will be the champion of the Deauville leg of the tour.